This program is sponsored by WG Financial Group, where your retirement matters.
Coming up today on the Right Retirement Show with Chris Wallace, with so many options for saving and investing for retirement, it's no wonder that many of you are looking for a simple strategy. Is there one magic bullet to address all of your retirement concerns? That's our main topic today. You'll learn about the actionable steps you can take right now to help you start making a difference for your financial future. The Right Retirement Show with Chris Wallace starts right now.
Chris Wallace with WG Financial Group has been helping families in our area plan for a successful retirement. Chris strives to understand all of your financial needs to help guide you on the path to your retirement goals, creating income in retirement, maximizing your savings, and minimizing taxes. Chris has the strategies you need to help you sustain a successful retirement. Welcome to the Right Retirement Show with Chris Wallace.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Luann Fulmer here with Chris Wallace, financial advisor and certified financial planner professional. Sometimes all the different options for what to do with your retirement savings can feel overwhelming, but today we want to help you make informed decisions on how and where to invest for retirement. So Chris, I'm excited to get started about this. Many of our viewers are looking for a way to help address, this very topic, what to do with their retirement assets. And there's a lot to sort through.
There is. Let's just start off with some of the basics. Like when you're ready to retire, there's going to be just a rash of emotions that's going to overcome you because you're literally leaving the job, stopping that paycheck. We call it turning off the faucet of income. You've heard me say that many times.
Yes.
And there's emotion involved in that because now you're wondering, do I have enough saved to last me all the way through? I no longer have that job safety net anymore, that security, not to mention the thing that defines most of us today, our jobs. So you go into that retirement and now you have this money and you need the money to do several different things. So I don't think there's a real simple way to just plan for retirement. I think you actually have to sit down and build out a plan. There's no magic bullet because you need your money to grow, because we need to outpace inflation. We all know what that feels like. We're still feeling the effects of it today. So we need our money to grow. In retirement, you also need income. So you're going to need your money to produce income. Some people watching the show today may want to have some of their money in an area that's much safer. They don't want to experience loss. And then we're also going to need liquidity because we need to be able to take money out and we'll need to be able to do things. That emergency fund that we talk about, in the pre-retirement years of 3 to 6 months, in retirement, 3 to 6 months may not feel like a lot. So sometimes you may choose to keep a little bit more, in a safer, more liquid place because you may need that for emergencies such as a roof replacement if we don't have a hailstorm or an HVAC replacement or replace a vehicle, things like that. So we need our money to grow. We need it to provide income, which some people may want to have some of it in an area that's safe. And then we also need some liquidity as well.
That's kind of a lot to try to understand and do correctly. So give us a simple way to understand different places we can invest our money for retirement.
So I think when you think about money in general, there's kind of three worlds. You have what's called the banking world, which would be where you would save money, have it liquid, money market savings, maybe low duration laddered CDs, something along those lines. Nowadays, money market funds are paying a lot more, so you could even leave that in a brokerage account and pick up a money market fund as well. Then you have the investment world. That's kind of self-explanatory. It's, you're investing stocks, bonds, different types of, securities there, looking primarily for growth in most cases. And then we have the insurance world, which in some cases might mean annuities for income. And people, when they hear the A word, annuities, they're like, oh my gosh, the annuity word. Hey, about 80% of pension plans out there today are backed by insurance companies. So they're also as basically an annuity. Do you like your pension? Yeah. Okay. Well, then you probably like income. You may like annuities. They're not for everybody. Let's just say that. But that's the insurance world. So banking, investment, insurance world.
Okay. So I want to break down these three worlds. Okay. Starting with the top of your list, and that's the banking world. Most people are familiar with that. That's where we have a lot of our money. How does this all fit into your retirement plan?
Yeah, so I was mentioning earlier, I think there's an element of money you have to have liquid at all times, and it varies per retiree. I've had some that will have $50,000 liquid, and I have some that want to have $150,000 liquid because it helps them sleep good. Because as I mentioned, there's a lot of psychology with retirement. There's a lot of emotions with retirement. money makes us emotional. Sometimes having a little bit more money, albeit we're giving up some returns, in a liquid state makes us feel better. And there is a lot of feelings in retirement. So that banking area, the liquidity is kind of nice. We talked about it. Could be money market savings, laddered CDs, but you can also pick up money market mutual funds also in some of the major custodians as well. So that's kind of that liquidity kind of banking world we're talking about.
Okay, so the investment world, like you said, pretty straightforward. We understand that. Most people, they're going to have at least part of their retirement savings in that investment world and, in the stock market, right?
Well, you need to if you're going to outpace inflation.
Right.
I mean, the best way to outpace inflation is not gold, which is what a lot of people think. It's actually being in stocks long term. Yeah. That actually long term has proven to beat, inflation long term. So you got to have some element of that. A lot of people don't want to take as much risk as they took in their younger working years. So maybe you have a mixture of stocks and bonds, and maybe that's 60-40. That's a common portfolio nowadays. 60% stock, 40% bonds. That's a pretty decent diversification, spread it across different sectors, and voila, you have your 60-40 plan. But that's a very simplistic way to kind of tell you about it and tell the viewers about it. There's other securities out there that you can kind of blend into that portfolio as well.
Okay, and then the insurance will explain that, because this is a very important part of a retirement plan. Like you said, it could be a good tool to somebody.
Yeah, well, for some it is, because pension plans have gone away.
Right.
Not very many companies offer pension plans anymore. If you're a military or federal employee or a longtime employee of another company, maybe you have a pension. The vast majority of us, including myself out there, I don't have a pension.
Right.
So we're going to have to create income. So Social Security is a big part of that. It's a big part of that. But then the delta between your Social Security and what you owe in out the door expenses every month needs to be covered by something. And could that be covered by your investments, your 60-40? For sure it could. Or do you feel safer having guaranteed income that is going to be there, where you're not having to depend on the market portfolio that's kind of going up and down? Some people do, some people don't. It's really a preference for what the family's looking for. But I can tell you that those that have pensions sure like getting the deposit of a pension. So it does, if you have guaranteed income, say coming from an annuity, it can take the stress off the portfolio. You're going to allocate a certain amount for income, and now you really don't have to pull as much out of the portfolio. It takes some of that stress off of it. Again, not for everybody.
Yeah, all right, very good. Coming up next, how do we put together all of this, in a way that benefits your retirement? And later, Chris is in the hot seat for Retirement Income IQ. Stay tuned.
Are you a federal employee facing early retirement offers from programs like FERA, VSIP, or DRP? Before you make any decisions, call 615-265-1778 to schedule a free discovery session with WG Financial Group. WG Financial Group can help you navigate changes to federal retirement programs. It's your retirement. Know where you stand. Visit WGFinancialGroup.com or call 615-265-1778 to schedule your session today.
How many times in your life do you make $1 million decision? For some of you, that's exactly what Social Security is. Hi, I'm Chris Wallace with WG Financial Group. When you go through and do the math, the average Social Security payment adds up to more than $700,000 over 30 years. If you're married and you double that number, now you're talking well over $1 million. So doesn't it make sense to talk to someone who can help you decide the appropriate time to start taking your benefits? Call us and schedule your complimentary discovery session today. Did you know that taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement? No one can avoid taxes completely, but with the appropriate strategies in place, you could potentially reduce your taxes in retirement. With a plan to help you protect your retirement savings from higher taxes, that's just more of your hard-earned money back in your pocket. At WG Financial Group, helping people like you optimize taxes in retirement is what we do. Call us to schedule your complimentary discovery session today.
I'm here with Chris Wallace, financial advisor, certified financial planner professional, and founder of WG Financial Group. Today, we're helping you have a better understanding of your options for your retirement savings. So, Chris, we want you to explain why it's so important for us to understand the three worlds of money.
Yeah, so I think as you're planning for your retirement, I think one of the things you may want to consider is how your assets are actually diversified and what they're going to do. So money really has to have a job in retirement. That we talked about, one of the jobs is maybe growth, part of it may be income, part of it may be liquidity, safety, whatever. So I think when you're planning for retirement, it does make sense to consider other things than just, say, stocks and bonds. So you are, as we talked about, going to need some for liquid emergencies. And I think that type of money needs to stay very liquid, money market type funds, the banking, the banking world that we talked about. Now, when we get into investments, the question then becomes, do we need to have all of our money at risk in the market? Some people it's totally fine for. Some people emotionally and psychologically, they can't handle it. Some people, like I said, they're totally okay with it. But then you have to also think about like the income aspect, because you're going to need income. So if we have all of our money in the market and we see a big market downturn and we still need income to pull out of the portfolio, now we're introducing something called sequence of return. So that is basically pulling, we don't know exactly where the returns are going to fall. We know over the long period of time, returns are going to be, great in the S&P. But we don't know where in that historical, timeline we're going to retire. So we may retire during a time when the market doesn't perform as well. So let's go back to like 1999. Things are glorious. We're coming out of the, the tech boom. And then all of a sudden we have the dot-com crash, 9/11. We have 3 negative years in the market. That whole decade from 99 to 2009 was atrocious. So just think about retiring during that time and having to pull lots of money out of the portfolio. In some cases, and again, I'm not saying in all cases, but in some cases, it just makes sense to section off part of the money for income. Most families that I work with are comfortable or feel more comfortable if they have steady income coming in, because now they're not looking at the account all the time. Think of it like this: when you're working, you've got that W-2 job income coming in the whole time. You never look at your 401k. You just put into it week after week, let it grow. You're not touching it. In retirement, you can kind of recreate that same feeling if you can generate stable income. And again, part of that will be Social Security. So you only have to generate the other part of it. So as you work through your pre-retirement years, you start paying off debt, it is time to start thinking about, okay, when I get into retirement, how do I really want to segment my money and give it the job that it's supposed to do? And how can I set myself up for the best long-term success? Because you and I both know, you can pick when you want to retire. You don't necessarily know when you're going to retire off this earth. That's not really up to you. And so I think it's important that you plan for longevity and plan for the best success. And I think the days of chasing returns when you get out of retirement, or I'm sorry, when you go from working into retirement, the days of chasing returns for most people is probably over in a lot of cases. Now you're talking about, all right, a little bit more of a preservation mindset and a distribution mindset. You have to think about that as you go into those 3 worlds of money as we're talking about.
Right. What I find a little bit scary is the fact that it's kind of the luck of the draw when you're going to, what type of an economy you're going to retire into, where the markets are.
Right, and you have to sort of pay attention to that. And in my opinion, you have to plan and lean towards more of a worst case scenario.
Right.
Because you don't want to think that you can't do the things you want to do in retirement, 10 years into retirement and go, okay, I have to stop traveling or I have to stop doing this. It's okay to understand that you can slow down and not take a trip every now and then, but you don't want to, course correct 10 years into retirement because you didn't plan properly.
Right. Okay. So help us, put this into action. And how would we find the appropriate combination of tools and products? Yeah.
So it really starts with building a plan. So I always like to say, if it's not us, go find somebody to sit down with, somebody that can build you a plan. I mean, I have 3 certified financial planners on staff, so we're fully capable of building out retirement plans. That's where we focus. But I think the first thing to do is start building a plan. And then once your plan is being designed, you can understand how much your money needs to stay liquid, how much of your money actually needs to go into the stock market, and then how much needs to go towards income. There are some families that have plenty of money and they don't really need to worry as much about the income piece. But there are families, and I'll use my father for example. When he was pushed into retirement, and I say pushed into retirement, he worked in corporate America. He was 62 and they were like, adios, you don't have a job anymore. Here's your paperwork and you're going to sign this and you're out of here. Well, we had to design his plan because of his life expectancy at that point. It had to be a little bit more on the conservative side. Some people have plenty of money. They don't even need to think about guaranteed income because no matter if they have a market crash or not, they're still going to be able to fund their lifestyle unless they're out buying yachts and Ferraris every other day. But for the most part, people know that they can live within their means. But building that plan is really where it all starts, Luann, and that's what we do at the office. I mean, we go by the RITE process. I mean, it's the name of the show, RITE. Come in, let's determine what your retirement income looks like. Let's take a look at your investments. Let's take a look at the insurance side of things. Let's build out a tax-efficient strategy for you all the way through retirement, because it's not just as simple as, hey, I'll just pull out of my IRA all day long. There is strategy and tax efficiency in retirement that can help you pay lower taxes. And then, of course, the estate and legacy, making sure you got all your legal documents. I'm not an attorney, but we've asked questions around that to make sure you have those bases covered. If not, we send you a referral and ask you to go talk to them about the very specifics about the legal documents. But the legacy part, how do we want our assets to pass on to our heirs? Are we doing that in the most tax efficient manner? Do we want to do some Roth conversions to really pass on more Roth IRA money? I have families that are just really wanting to do Roth conversions because they don't want their kids to have to pay taxes. That ain't me. If my kids inherit my pre-tax money, it's good. It's free money to them. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
They're going to get this. They didn't work for it. I did. If they have to pay a little bit more tax on it, hey, so be it. That's just the way I feel. I don't judge anybody for what they want to do, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we are passing on those assets in the most tax efficient manner possible.
Great insights, Chris. Straight ahead, Chris is in the hot seat again for Retirement IQ. And later, what are some simple, actionable steps you can take to help improve your financial future today? Chris has your checklist challenge. Stay with us.
Are you a federal employee facing early retirement offers from programs like FERA, VSIP, or DRP? Before you make any decisions, call 615-265-1778 to schedule a free discovery session with WG Financial Group. WG Financial Group can help you navigate changes to federal retirement programs. It's your retirement. Know where you stand. Visit WGFinancialGroup.com or call 615-265-1778 to schedule your session today.
If you're worried about higher prices in retirement and you're worried about losing too much of your money in the stock market, I think you've got enough to worry about. Hi, I'm Chris Wallace with WG Financial Group. If the thought of losing too much of your retirement savings in the market is keeping you up at night, I can help. My team can review your portfolio and help you identify any changes that could be made to help you feel more confident about your money. Don't stay up all night worrying about your retirement. Call us and schedule your complimentary discovery session today. Did you know that taxes could be your biggest expense in retirement? No one can avoid taxes completely, but with the appropriate strategies in place, you could potentially reduce your taxes in retirement. With a plan to help you protect your retirement savings from higher taxes, that's just more of your hard-earned money back in your pocket. At WG Financial Group, helping people like you optimize taxes in retirement is what we do. Call us to schedule your complimentary discovery session today. How many times in your life do you make $1 million decision? For some of you, that's exactly what Social Security is. Hi, I'm Chris Wallace with WG Financial Group. When you go through and do the math, the average Social Security payment adds up to more than $700,000 over 30 years. If you're married and you double that number, now you're talking well over $1 million. So doesn't it make sense to talk to someone who can help you decide the appropriate time to start taking your benefits? Call us and schedule your complimentary discovery session today.
And now it's time to put our knowledge to test with this week's Retirement IQ. Are you ready for this, Chris?
Always.
You always say that. You're always ready. All right. Today, we've been talking about the three worlds of money and all the different places where we can save or invest our retirement savings. But right now, we're just going to narrow it down to just retirement income for our trivia questions. Okay? All right. Here we go. First question. What does COLA stand for?
Well, it's not the stuff you drink, I can tell you that.
Not Coca-Cola.
Not Coca-Cola.
Not Coca-Cola.
Yeah. It's cost of living adjustment. And it's real important that when you're building out a retirement plan that you have a plan built that can outpace inflation. We all know that Social Security has a COLA adjustment to it. Again, why I say Social Security is a big part of your retirement. That decision on when to claim Social Security is huge, and it has that COLA. If you're a federal employee, it has that COLA built into it as well. So you're already at an advantage when it comes to those streams of income. So your other sources of retirement funds need to be outpacing inflation because you don't actually have that automatic COLA attached to it.
Right. And so so other things for keeping up inflation, just like maybe get a second job or something like that.
Well, I don't know about you,
Get out
but
of debt.
when I retire, I'm not working a second job. That ain't retirement.
So then you're not doing that.
That's
yeah.
not retirement to me.
Yeah.
No.
But
not
you
gonna
can,
happen.
yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next question.
We're trying to get people retired here.
Not go back to work.
Not go back to work.
I know. But inflation, that's kind of a big thing.
Yep.
All right. What does RMD stand for?
Required minimum distribution. And I've heard them called MRDs.
Right. People say it. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you call
Right.
it, as long as you know you have to take it out at 73 or 75. So it really doesn't matter what you call it. But it's required minimum distributions. Here again, I think it's important to understand when your minimum distribution is due. If you're born in 1960 or later, it's age 75. You need to plan for that, because if you have a very large IRA, and let's just assume in 10 years money doubles, it could double before then, but let's just assume in 10 years money doubles and you're age 60, and you're talking about your IRA doubling and then, almost doubling, half again.
Right,
and you're talking about a massive IRA at that point that you're going to have to pull a required minimum distribution out of, and that's a big chunk of money that you're going to have to pull out in a lot of cases, especially if you got a 7-figure IRA.
Right. So make sure maybe they're getting advice from somebody like you as far as making those withdrawals.
Yes, spending down some of it, Roth converting some of it, doing something, having a plan, because what can happen, you don't know what the tax rates are going to be in the future, and that's the scary part.
True.
Like we know what they're going to be through the end of 2025. We don't know what they're going to be beyond that at this point. And planning for that, I think, is good, because you may get to that point where you got to start pulling money out, and you may go up a tax bracket.
Sure. Okay. Next question. What does Roth stand for?
Yeah, so it really doesn't stand for anything. It's not an acronym like you've been feeding me. It's just the, Roth IRA, which was introduced in the late 1990s. And really the thing there that's interesting, I've heard people say, well, they're going to do away with the Roth. And I'm like, no, they're not. And I'll tell you why.
Not? Yeah.
No, I can tell you why they're not.
Okay.
The government gets their tax money today. So
Sure,
when
that's
you're
right.
working and you're putting in post-tax funds is what's happening. The growth is then tax-free if you follow the rules, 59 or 5 years or 59 and a half. So are they going to get rid of it? No, they're not, because they're getting tax revenue today. It actually helps the government a lot for people to put into Roth IRA money. Now, there's no money down the road, but there's Roth money they get taxes today. And that's really the main difference is the Roth IRA, your money's growing tax-free. The traditional IRA, traditional 401k, your money's growing tax-deferred, so you're going to pay later. There's places in a retirement plan for both of them.
Okay, good. All right. Final question. What does QLAC stand for?
Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, I would say if we polled the viewers, 90% of viewers don't know what a QLAC is.
I don't even know if I could have said that.
It's a qualified longevity annuity contract.
Very good.
Okay, so what happens with a QLAC? So it is an annuity.
Right.
And it's kind of a unique annuity. It's not one that's like all the other annuities. So you put your money in, and what it allows you to do is you don't have to pull RMDs on that money. So you can put in up to $210,000 in 2025. You can put up $210,000 in, and you can defer that until age 85, at which time you have to start taking income. But during that time, you don't have to take an RMD because on that amount of money, because it's being deferred. So that's the unique feature. Not a huge fan of them, but that's what's out there, and that's what a QLAC is.
Okay, thank you so much. Still to come, you're going to learn some simple steps that you can take today to help improve your situation. Because, like we always say, how useful is knowledge without action? So stay tuned for more to come.
Are you a federal employee facing early retirement offers from programs like FERA, VSIP, or DRP? Before you make any decisions, call 615-265-1778 to schedule a free discovery session with WG Financial Group. WG Financial Group can help you navigate changes to federal retirement programs. It's your retirement. Know where you stand. Visit WGFinancialGroup.com or call 615-265-1778 to schedule your session today.
Thank you for joining us today on the RITE Retirement Show with Chris Wallace. Chris, we've had a lot of fun today. Oh my gosh, I think we've learned a lot. And as the saying goes, knowledge is power.
Yeah, unless you don't put it into action.
Right. Got to put it into action.
Correct. So yeah, so we talk about the takeaways for today's show. We talked about really the diversification of your assets in the banking world, if you will, the investment world, if you will, and then also the insurance world. I think for most people, it really boils down to building a financial plan, retirement plan. So as you go to embark in this journey that most of you've never been on before, you've likely never been on retirement unless you retired and unretired, like Tom Brady and Brett Favre and many of the other NFL players.
Yeah.
You've never done it before, so I think having a plan to go into retirement, I think, is important. I think it'll help you understand how your money needs to be positioned, how you're going to take income. And I know at the office we use that RITE process, RITE, just like the show. So when you come into the office, we go over your retirement income. We take a look at that. We look at the differential between your Social Security, your pensions, and what you're going to spend each month. We also take a look at the investments, where you are on the risk level. Are you a little bit more risky than you need to be? How much are you paying in fees? Even in advisory fees, I see this often where they're just being charged way too much for just managing investments. Not to mention they have high cost mutual funds in there as well. When you add those two together, we're at a pretty high percentage. And then I'm going to take a look at the tax efficient strategies and kind of look at how we're going to pull money out. What kind of accounts do you have? Do you have Roth? Do you have the brokerage account that fall underneath the capital gains? Do you have pre-taxed IRAs? We need to look at all of that together and figure out the most efficient way to tap into those accounts to fund your retirement. And then, of course, I'm going to look at that estate and legacy plan. I'm going to make sure our offices make sure that your assets are going to pass on the way that you want them to, kind of give you an idea what's going to be left at the end of the plan. We are big encouragers, Luann, and you can see on the rejoin after each segment, it says plan, retire, play.
Yes.
We are really big about you planning. If you do proper planning, we feel like you can retire, right? Plan, retire. And then what we want you to do is we want you to go out and play. We want you to enjoy this last phase of your life with your spouse, with your kids, with your grandkids. Go and make those memories. Some people want to leave assets behind. I'm not one of these people that I don't want to die one of the richest. I don't want to die the richest person in the graveyard. I want to make memories with my kids, and that's what our office does. We really encourage our clients to go out, spend time with your families. We are watching your retirement plan. We want you to enjoy the time with your family and just really go and make those memories. That means a lot to me as a father, and I know that it means a lot to our clients as well.
Yeah, I love it. Plan, retire, and play.
You got it.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you for joining us today. We hope you can take what you've learned and put it into action. Don't forget, Chris and our team, they are here to help you keep your retirement plan balanced so you can feel confident to spend your time doing what you love with the people who matter the most to you. For Chris and our team at WG Financial Group, I'm Luann Fulmer. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
This program is sponsored by WG Financial Group, where your retirement matters.